Welcome to the As the Rotors Turn podcast, only on the Cartoon Helicopter Network, with your hosts Diggs, Darkwood, and Streaker6. Let's get to it.
We are live. Go ahead.
All right, we're live here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're your hosts, Diggs, Streaker, and Darkwood. This is our first inaugural podcast from the Helo Hounds, where we're going to bring you news, updates, conversations, and all things DCS, helicopters, flight simming, and general shenanigans. This week, we have a special guest, Mr. Trapper. He's a flight sim enthusiast and creator of the Strike Package Studios. He's recently made a foray into server mission creation with a brand new DCS server called Contention. We'll be talking to him a little bit. I'm super excited to meet him and get some inside knowledge on how that server processes work, his background, and all that good stuff. But first, we're going to check in with our hosts. I am Diggs. Please welcome our resident livery maker and technical advisor and creator of the Helo Hounds, Streaker6. How you doing, Streaker?
I'm doing great. Thanks a lot, Diggs. Thanks for being here and helping get this whole thing set up. Hoping that we're going to have a great little show here for everybody tonight and in the future. And we're going to just head right on to our frickin' PR guy, which of course is our funny man, Darkwood. So take it away, Darkwood.
Thanks, Streaker. Hey, y'all, I'm Darkwood. Short intro. I'm about the same as these guys. We're all about the same in the age group. We all play PvP, PvE, helicopters mainly in DCS, some jet work. So, this is something different for us all to talk about the issues and the good and bad points of the game and helicopters. So, Diggs, we played a bit on the Contention server in anticipation of this week's podcast. What'd you think of it?
You know what? My first impression was really great. I think it's a fresh idea on some other existing ideas that have been in DCS. And a couple of new ones that I'm unfamiliar with, and I was kind of excited about the whole credit system that's in the game, or in the Contention server, I should say. And I'd like to get a little more detail about how that works and the kind of things you can do with it from Trapper once we get him in here. But it seems to me like if there's a lot of players playing that are earning credits, that there's some really crazy stuff that could be done as far as the mission goes, with back and forth with resupplies and things of that nature. So that's one thing I'm really excited about. I think the server so far is run pretty smoothly for me. I haven't had any technical issues in there, so hats off to them for that. So far I'm really liking it, and I look forward to playing on more. And I think that I've heard pretty much the same thing from you guys and from the other Helo Hounds on it thus far. So, I mean, I guess with that, let's welcome Trapper on in here and get some questions and explanations on what he's going on. Trapper, how you doing, man? Good to have you.
Hey, doing pretty well. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, Trapper, what made you decide to get into creating a server like this, or a mission, if you will? It seems like it could be a pretty big undertaking.
Yep, definitely a big undertaking. So Contention has been in development for over a year now. It started as a pretty ambitious project. We actually had much bigger goals initially. We got a bit of a reality check once we started working on it. But yeah, it's a big project. It's taken, probably over 1,000 hours of work at this point, realistically. I've done all of the scripting side of things. I've gotten some help on the mission editor side of the house from Venom. That's been very helpful. But yeah, so the reason we got into it was because we we're kind of getting bored. There's a lot of DCS servers out there, but a lot of them have little nuances, weapon restrictions, just little aspects that we didn't necessarily find perfect. So we wanted to take all of the things that we enjoy in servers and try to put them into one big, large-scale, total domination type environment.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you: have you always been a flight sim enthusiast? Was this a thing where you just got into airplanes as a kid, or what's your background as far as just airplanes and aircraft go?
So my grandpa was in the Air Force. He was also a commercial pilot through PSA and then an instructor at Boeing. So from a young age, I was introduced to flight sims through him. I remember using some of the really old Microsoft flight sims on his desktop computer at like a really young age, and just continuing to do that. So I've always had a bit of an interest. And then I got into DCS a few years ago and just fell in love with it. Haven't stopped playing since.
Nice. It sounds like a pretty typical kind of background with most flight sim enthusiasts. Somehow got into it from somebody in a family member or something. All right, I guess for our first major question that maybe need a little more explanation for new players coming into your server is how does the credit system work and what can you do with it?
So the credit system, it's still kind of in the early stages. We have a lot of ambitious ideas, but currently you can use credits to airdrop troops. You can call in an AWACS, and you can call in tankers. Those are the main things. Some of the troops have a few extra features, so there's also demolition troops that can be used to take out a hard bunker if you're having trouble taking one out at a certain airfield. There's light troops, there's medium troops, and then heavy troops where you'll get a tank. There's also anti-air troops, and you can drop an EWR or JTAC unit, and the JTAC will immediately start lasing and smoking targets. The AWACS, there's an E3 that spawns by default at the start of each server restart on each team. If that dies, you can call a new one in with credits, and then if you want a closer, more tactical AWACS, you can put a marker on the map. The F10 map, you just put a marker down and do /AWACS followed by some kind of unique text, and then through the F10 menu, you can call an AWACS to go orbit at that location. It'll be an E2 Hawkeye. And then if you need tanker support, you can do the same thing, /tanker on the map, and then it'll send one of each kind, boom and basket, to that location to orbit for a little bit. In addition, we have some plans for bombers. We messed around with that. Yep, so you'll be able to basically put a marker down where you'd like a bomber strike. But that hasn't been confirmed. We've been having some issues. And then there's also convoys. So you'd potentially be able to put down a marker and then spend credits to have a convoy dispatched to the location.
That sounds interesting. I really like the bomber idea. Streaker Darkwood, you had next question?
Yeah, actually, Trapper, this is Streaker here, in case you didn't notice. I did actually have a good question on how your reserve units spawn at the locations, you know, like, especially at, like, the airfields. Just because I noticed it seemed like they, like, just spawned immediately underneath us. So this is kind of a two-part question, if you will. And basically, is there a way to make them spawn more realistically so that they kind of aren't right underneath you as soon as they spawn?
Gotcha. So right now, when troops get reinforced to a FARP or an airfield, it does dispatch a cargo plane, and then that cargo plane has to fly from the nearest friendly home base, and then it'll smoke the target, and once it gets close, it'll dispatch troops.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
So
yeah, you might have played a little too early. It used to not be like that. It used to spawn them immediately.
Okay, yeah, that was probably the one of the first iterations that I was playing then, yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's perfect. That is perfect. I love it. It gives you a chance and a warning that they're coming in, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You can track the plane on the EWR, and it's pretty easy to shoot down. Obviously, it's not defended.
I had a question about the Caesar. Because the last time we played in there, it was Syria before the update, the 2.9 update, which we're going to discuss also here on the show. There wasn't no Caesar at that point.
Correct. So Caesar is something we are open to adding. We haven't really had much interest so far, and it wasn't something that the server staff is necessarily too interested in. But if we hear that there's interest, we can definitely get it added.
Well, I will say this on the real popular Cold War server that everybody likes to play on. The Caesar is awesome because especially if you pick up an enemy pilot, we like to feel that when you get him back to the base and it says they interrogated him, that they waterboarded him. So it's something for us to look forward to, and you know what I mean. I really like going. We call them John McCain's. We call the downed American pilots John McCain's, and we call the downed Russian pilots Yuri Gagarin's.
So, is this more of a technical question or a problem that needs to be solved, or is it just more of will to like institute Caesar?
I mean, if you guys are interested and it's going to get a lot of use, then I can definitely start working on it and probably have it in within the next week or two.
I mean, I would think, and I think most people that are a part of the Helo Hounds would agree that, I mean, for us anyways, that Caesar is a big part of our gameplay for sure.
Because there's about 15 of us when we show up. What was it, last Saturday or Friday night? Last Saturday night, I think we had 12 of our people in your server, in the Contention server, and like 6 or 7 others, maybe 8 joined. We had like 21 people in there at one point. I think you were one of them that eventually joined. You and Venom come in there. We had a pretty good little time going.
Oh yeah,
it was like 8. We were in there about 8 hours last Saturday. It was a good time.
Yep. Yeah,
but
I mean,
the Caesar is really fun stuff when you can go pick up these pilots and you can incentivize people to do so. Like give them, I mean, in the popular Cold War server, they don't give you points anymore for picking them up and returning them. Gotcha. It's only for taking out ground targets. Incidentally, my first kill in your server was the SU-25 with a Huey.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah, I mean, we can definitely work on implementing that. It just wasn't something that we were thinking about too much, but yeah, especially some kind of way to work the credit system in, or maybe the team resource system, could even make it more fun. So I'm down. It's a good idea.
What?
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I keep hearing him say, maybe we should ask, who else is a part of your dev team there?
So that would be me, Venom, and Shimmy. End up making most of the decisions, or at least discussing things together before deciding on things.
Venom is in the peanut gallery currently.
Yes, he is. If you want to bring him in, he might want to talk. I can ask him really quick.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, if he wants to. Yeah, hell yeah. Always room for a creator everywhere, man. One of the questions from the peanut gallery from Captain Trips was, what script do you use? Or do you use Moose, Miss, or straight SSC in their scripting?
Gotcha. So just Mist. I'm used to a pretty open environment for scripting. So I've worked with Arma 3, 5M, DayZ, a whole bunch of other games. DCS is definitely the most restrictive and difficult to work with. It has the least built-in functions. So I didn't really want to use Moose because it was it felt too much like building blocks to me. I'm used to just writing most of the functions myself. So Mist was easy. It just saved me time and writing a whole bunch of pre-made functions and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't There's some stuff I wrote completely from scratch that doesn't even use Mist, like the FAC system, but in general, most of the scripts utilize some form or some elements of Mist.
All right, cool. I hope that answers his question.
I think it does. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
In your development team, do you guys have clear lines of responsibility, if you will? Is like one guy the scripter, one guy a writer, or I'm not sure how it helps or works. I'm not a developer myself.
Yeah, so it's really, I'm the only person that actually knows how to do the scripting. Venom and Shimmy are primarily there to help me figure out the best ways to do it, help me get ideas, and just kind of keep things organized.
Nice.
Team effort.
I guess another important question was from Hounds from Sally from the Peanut Gallery about what can we do to help, because we like playing there. What can we do to contribute if we wanted to help? You know what I mean? Besides broadcasting about the server and how much fun we have in there and that it's out there, like maybe donations monetarily to help with server costs.
Yeah, so I would say the number one thing that would help the most right now is just feedback and suggestions and just trying to help us get good ideas for how to improve the current features and how to add some new fun things. I am working on a Patreon. It's not the biggest deal for us. We can handle the server costs. It's not that bad, but we will be opening that pretty soon. And
well, you had mentioned that your dad was a manager at Boeing.
That was my grandpa, who was an instructor at Boeing.
Yeah, because Sally is a manager at Boeing, so he makes pretty good money, and he wants to help contribute any way he can.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I will let you know.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing with donations too, if we were to get any, they'd probably go right back into giveaways and server funds, obviously. But nice. Yeah, but donations would go to giveaways and server funds. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Nice.
Well,
we did have a question about the F-16 also.
Yep, I was just actually
All right.
going to bring that up.
Yeah, we had to get to that. We got to get to it.
Fire away.
Fire away, Darkwood. You're on it.
Oh, no, be my guest, sir. I didn't mean to intrude.
Oh, not a problem. It's just something I was wondering because I am not a fixed wing person by any means, but the reason I'm asking this question, I'll throw out there first, is I hear that the Jeff and the Viper are very similar in dogfighting capabilities. So I was wondering why you guys chose to put the F-16 on the red side along with the Jeff, instead of something like the Hornet or the Tomcat.
Yeah, so it's mainly air to ground. It's to give red something more powerful in terms of air to ground.
Okay.
And it's only on the Syria map currently. On Sinai, the F-16 is on blue. So on Syria, it's a really big map, really large-scale modern threat. There's a lot less people who have the JF-17, and the JF-17 is overall a lot less capable in terms of air-to-air and air-to-ground compared to the F-16. Some people who are going to try to say something to their comment on that, but the F-16 is just overall really good aircraft that a lot of people have, and it helps get more people on the red team. It helps red be able to progress in the campaign. It gives them good modern seed capabilities. And then obviously the air-to-air too is very helpful. But
Right.
we have also messed around with the idea of doing a more realistic setup on Syria and possibly switching it back and forth between campaigns. So if we do that, we might be able to learn in the future if it's a good idea to put it on blue, if it even works if it's on blue. And we can just try things out with different versions of the campaign.
Yeah, I was just wondering, just for that standpoint, that I've always heard that the Jeff and the 16 were about the same in dogfighting capabilities. That's the only reason I had that question. I think it's great that you're mixing it up and balancing the server better by giving the 16 over or an 18, either one, over to the red side to be able to balance the server out. It It was just wondering why the Viper was chosen over the other ones, and now I fully understand. I get it. Thank you very much.
Gotcha. No problem.
What about what about warbirds? Because you only have one warbird on the red side. I mean, is there any plan on adding more of those?
Yeah, I was kind of going to ask at some point, just a general poll in Discord and see what warbirds people own and would like to see. It came down to just running out of slots at a lot of aircraft or space to put airframes, so decided, they're not the most important aircraft on the server, so we can wait a little bit and just ask what people want and put a few extras in.
Right, and so speaking of extras,
yep.
How do you feel about the community-made aircraft like the Bronco, the Blackhawk, the A4, the soon-to-be Cobra?
So, mods are a tough question, especially early on.
That's why we saved it for last or near last.
Yeah, we're not opposed to using mods, especially like the C-130 and the Blackhawk, the A4, stuff like that. The problem right now is if we require them, it's going to be harder to get people on the server, and if we don't require them, then some people who don't have them installed might be a little confused when they see like an SE-27 where an A4 is supposed to be or something like that. And obviously, over time, we can inform people, hey, download the mod, it'll fix this problem. But we're worried that this early on after launch, it's going to cause too many issues and possibly not make people want to fly as much on the server.
That sounds like a wise idea. Try to get the player count up a bit first. Get the server actually going and running.
Yeah, and we've also thrown out the idea, like I kind of mentioned before, of just making a separate campaign for it, maybe like an event, and just trying it out, seeing how it works. And if people actually enjoy it, then maybe we could implement it full time.
I noticed in all the troops, you're like, we don't see any ground-to-air troops, like anti-air troops.
Like
that is a request
stingers?
of several. Yeah, they're like ground-to-air troops. They're like four of them pop out there. Because I mean, I did see that we can spawn equipment out to haul over there to build that. But I just thought it would. I just thought it would save less scripting and code if you use just straight up ground-to-air guys.
A Stinger group or something, yeah.
Yeah, so we decided to remove those, at least for the initial launch, just based off some experience on other servers. It's extra difficult to see man pads in DCS, especially through T-pods and stuff. The contrast doesn't really show up too well. And we thought it would be better to just use vehicles in the form of the Avenger, Linebacker, and Strellas instead, at least early on.
I got another peanut gallery question from Sally. We were going to use Contention for like squad nights. Is there a way to get extra pads for, say, 15 Hueys?
100%, yeah. You guys want to plan that out in advance? Pick a few places where you want to take off? We can do it. We can
do like an Apocalypse Now type mission.
I'm down.
Yeah, that would be great.
And I know it's been probably about a week since I've actually been on the Contention server, so I don't know if you've changed this or not yet. But I did have one suggestion that I was thinking of initially, but kind of falling back on my first question when I was talking to you about the unit spawning locations, where that's already been addressed and fixed. I guess the big question is there any plans to incentivize the troop movements for capturing enemy locations? Because originally, I know we weren't getting any points other than just flight time. To
credits,
bring,
you mean, yeah,
for credits. Yep. So I was kind of thinking, maybe it'd be nice for those people that like to just move units. Of course, I'm talking helicopters again here, but for them to maybe get 4 or 5 credits on top of their flight time for moving the units in to capture that base. Is that something that you guys have thought of, or not?
So the only thing I can. So no, we haven't necessarily thought of that, and I'm not necessarily opposed. I'm just a little bit worried about some potential exploits with that. But we could probably talk about that later and figure it out and find a way to get that implemented. That is a good idea.
Right. Yeah. It's just something we noticed when we had one guy was just moving troops, moving, and we were taking out the units in between, and he ended up getting jack squat for credits, and he was not real happy about that. But
True. Yeah, we can definitely try to find a way to reward people that are doing that. I'm just thinking about like somebody who is on like a neutral point and just drops infantry and then gets points and then picks them back up and then drops them again or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If I can find some way to work out like a non-exploitable system, I'm definitely down.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that it was just, for making it go from neutral to under your site's control, for the points. Gotcha. And then it gives you credits for that. Not so much for transporting them, but if you actually take over an area due to your troop drop, is where I was kind of thinking that it should be incentivized there. If that helps at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea. Sounds good.
Definitely. Captain Trips from the Peanut Gallery has another question. Do they use the SL mod for team kill penalties, etc., and stats, simple slot dash blocker?
So we do not right now. We're going to try avoiding it if we can. If we become a larger server and we're consistently popular during the day, we might have to enable SL mod.
Okay.
We enjoy Buddy Spike. That's where Venom, Shimmy, and I spend most of our time is playing on the Buddy Spike servers. So we're used to not playing with slot blocker, we're used to not playing with SL mod, and just kind of having to deal with it. If someone tries to team kill you, gotta figure it out. But
you can say something to somebody, or
of course too, yeah. Most of the time, it ends up just being confusion or lack of IFF or something.
I have noticed though, like when I've had an issue with something and I message on your Discord, we're in the proper channel, that you do respond pretty quick.
Yeah, and that too. When we get a message, so if someone team kills, we get pinged in our Discord immediately. So we'll know if people are doing it, and especially if someone gets like 5 in a row, we'll just ban them or whatever. Right. So we will be on top of that. We're going to try not to use SL mod just because it leads to too many accidental bans and kicks and issues, and we just like to avoid it if possible. Simple slot blocker, we have a Frankenstein version of it, I guess. I kind of just ripped the original simple slot blocker apart to work for our server.
Nice.
But yeah, it is in some form enabled. It's just different because we have like the Syria map that actually flips sides, so it required a lot of modification. But yep, it's in there.
Speaking of enabled, man, what do you think about this voice comm in game from the 2.9 update?
That's a good question. So I don't have any experience with it so far, so I can't really say. I know Venom and Shimmy were looking at it, and they said it looks really good. I don't know if you guys have used it yet at all.
I haven't. It almost made my head explode watching Wag's video on it.
Yeah, I haven't used it yet, but I'm really looking forward to using it because I personally would like to see SRS go away so that we can just use core game mechanics, in my personal opinion. I know that's going to be very unpopular.
Yeah, it's going to take time, I think, is the biggest thing. If it continues to get updates and this new system is better, then I'm sure it'll eventually replace SRS across the board. I know we're going to be trying it out. We're going to try to figure out how well it works and if it's possible right now to implement it. And then we'll ask the community if it's something they would actually be interested in.
All right, that's great. So I do have a couple more questions for you, and if you feel that Venom has some to add, I'd like to get him up here as well. But before we do that, it looks like I got a incoming contact. Looks like a hot MiG-21. Oh boy, I think it's the People's Villain coming in for a special report. So I think we need to get Cold Claws up in here and hear his special field report before we continue. Yeah, so that's like you should be bringing him up here, Dark.
Yep.
Just interject really quick. Venom did say he's good to talk whenever you guys want him in here.
Okay, I got. I sent both of them invites. There's Mr. Venom.
Venom, and as soon as we get
Venom.
our People's Villain in here,
The
we'll
People's
be able
Villain
to,
is on a delay, a time delay.
Yeah, we'll be able to get ourselves right into that Cold Claws report.
So what's up, Venom, man? I've seen you a couple times, and there's the People's Villain.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hold tight, and let's let the People's Villain do his thing. Hang on a second here. They're saying that they're not hearing you? You're not hearing Cold Claws? No, on the... Yeah, but are they hearing it on the stream? Well, why in the heck are they not hearing him on the stream? Hang on 1 second. I checked everything out and everything was working, but my apologies, everybody on the stream. Let me see what the heck is going on here. I had everything set up, so I thought, and let's actually try that. Go ahead and speak there, Cold Claws, and let's see if everybody hearing them now. It'll probably give them a couple of seconds. My apologies, everybody. I thought I had everything set up correctly, and apparently not. So you're still not hearing them on.
I'm being heard. Test.
Right, it should be going now.
They're messing with you in chat. Continue.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I see what I did wrong. I did mess up and not have a Discord sound in here.
so we're good?
Report. Yep. Now it's good to go. My apologies. Start over again if you would, please, Cold Claws.
All right.
I'm very sorry about that, everybody.
No problem. Okay. So obviously, I'm Cold Claws, the so-called People's Villain, and this is my awesome MiG-21 fighter. It's the best. It's the best fighter jet ever made. But so I know this is a helicopter podcast, but unfortunately I'm a fixed wing main, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on for my rant. And the huge elephant in the room with the rant is the new 2.9 update. This is a big update that dropped yesterday, and unfortunately, it's been nothing but a pain for me to play on, because I primarily play on Enigma's Cold War server, which is like the biggest, or among the biggest, most popular PvP servers on DCS. There's constantly like 50, 60 people like on the server in like close range like dogfights. So and every time you play, every time you get into these fights, it's just a laggy mess of people freezing and teleporting. And I don't even care about the new missiles, which I thought would get, because red missiles got like changed, and I thought they would get nerfed, but they actually aren't even that bad, and in some cases better. But I don't even care about that, because it's such a pain to play on an Enigma server right now, and it's not even Enigma's fault. Because unfortunately, ED's priority is not multiplayer, because the majority of the game is in single player. And I wish they would have like tested the 2.9 update more so on heavy multiplayer missions, and I mean really heavy, not like kill stationary ground well, I mean, I wish they would test it on a heavy mission, because what they probably thought it was like, wow, this update looks really good on max graphics on single player with nothing shooting at me, while you hop on like any real multiplayer server and it's just a mess of stuttering. Like, and I remember when 2.8 dropped in March with the multi-threading updates, it was the same thing. We had amazing performance for a day, but then it just collapsed. But now today, we don't even get good performance. Though, to be fair, back then there was a bullet crater bug that dropped FPS. But after they fixed the bug, it was still laggy AF. So I've ranted on about that on enough. And also another thing that happened is Enigma moved the server box, because the server used to be hosted in North America, which usually like was good for everyone. I had like 20 ping, and now he moves the server to Europe, and I get like, I played today and I had 256 ping, which is like a lot. The funniest part was he had a poll in his Discord asking people like what their ping would be, and he had this poll at like 8, 9 in the morning, instead of and close it after 20 minutes. So only the Europeans were able to answer the poll, and they were like, "Ooh, I have great ping. I live in Germany, and the servers in Germany, I only have 20 ping. Wow, this is so awesome." And then like the Americans are all either sleeping or at work, and so they don't know. So now we're like screwed, and we're stuck playing with 20 ping. And God help you if you're South American or Australian. Yeah, have fun playing on your 300, 500 ping. Like, it's just an absolute mess. Like, I wanted to talk about the F5 and the MiG-21, because I only fly the MiG-21, which is an awesome plane. But recently, I've branched out and actually flown the good guys, and I played the F5. And let me tell you, I despise that plane completely. Like, it's so awful compared to the MiG-21. It is just terrible. Like, the MiG-21 can accelerate really awesome. Its wings are an air brake, so you can lose speed really quickly, but you can also regain it, and you outturn it. The F5 can't do either of those things. The only thing it's really good at is ripping its wings. So it's just a huge pain to play. But the F5, for anyone who doesn't know, it's the counterpart to the MiG-21, and the worst part about the F5 is how it's only useful in a very small fuel radius. Like the MiG-21, you can be a complete idiot and forget to drop your fuel tank, and be on full fuel. Hell, your tank could have some fuel in it, and you'll still outturn people because your engine is just magic. But in the F5, if you have above 50% fuel, you're an absolute pig. So you really only have like 10 minutes maximum of like full like combat capability power. I mean, I guess then you can keep up with the MiG-21, but it's such a pain. And this obviously isn't even mentioning like the MiG-21 can take up to 6 missiles. The F5 only gets 2, and the MiG-21's damage model is not the best. Like you can you shoot an F5 at MiG-21, instantly falls apart. MiG-21 will eat the entire F5's magazine, whatever it's called. Though I've been kind of negative all day, this rant. So before I go,
right on.
Before I go, I would like to mention Tempest, the Blue Flash server, because when it's basically like Enigma server, but he got rid of the stupid like hex system. So like it's actually like good. The ground targets are like in an easy to find area. The front line actually looks like a front line now, which works better for a server with like less population than
Didn't
than
we
Nvidia.
didn't we ask you to go into contention server? What was your opinion of it?
I played on
Didn't
it
you-
once. Yeah, no, I played on contention server once. Like with y'all. I started up my Strike Eagle. Couldn't figure out how to drop my cluster bombs. Like I took some hits. I couldn't figure out how to drop my cluster bombs. I kind of just like left. So I don't really have that much experience on contention. I mean, I played that one night with y'all, and I was just in the Strike Eagle. So yeah, funny. You didn't.
All right, well maybe we'll see your MiG-21 in there.
Maybe, but I don't know if I want to fight all those.
I mean, hey, it's got a 28 ping. It had a 28 ping last time I looked in contention.
Yeah, I don't want to fight these.
Or you could go into Enigma's Cold War and then pull your motorhome closer to the Taco Bell for better signal.
True. Well, I am getting a new computer soon, but
Right?
okay.
Well, all right. So there was a great update from the our resident people's villain, Cold Claws, with another example of why the MiG-21 is the best plane in the game.
If you fly blue, you better be looking over your shoulder for Cold Claws, man, because he will just show up out of nowhere on your ass.
This is true. All right, let's say thank you to Cold Claws, and let's get back
Good looking
to our
out,
guests
Claws.
here. Thank you, Cold Claws.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right, Trapper and Venom. Venom, welcome. We didn't get to talk to you yet. Are you still with us? All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, how is your experience here? I mean, we got to talk to Trapper here a little bit. What's your experience been like getting this server together, and how you feeling about it so far?
It's a lot of brainstorming. Like, Trapper does all the technical stuff. I kind of do the, like, brainstorm and be like, hey, this is kind of cool. What would this be like if we did this type of stuff?
Has there been any thing that I mean, it's called a contention server. Is there anything that has been a big contention between you guys as far as an idea getting shot down or not? Or
Oh yeah, there's been plenty. There's been plenty of those.
oh yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, there's too many to list right now.
Probably like a daily occurrence. It's a lot of hilarious ideas.
It is a daily occurrence. It's just like, hey Trapper, can we do this? And he's like, no. I'm like, but why? I don't want to do it. Like, why?
You make the Arleigh Burke just shoot 100 Tomahawk missiles.
Yeah, no, that was one of my things. I was like, can we just get Tomahawk missiles just launched off the carrier group and just hit some of the coastal air bases, please?
Well, I
And
guess
he's like,
this
no.
question would be for both of you. With the big new update of 2.9, has that put any wrinkles into a mission dev perspective, or not really?
So the new data link system on the 16 and 18 might potentially take us some time to fully implement. So that's the only like potential issue from 2.9 that we know of. Otherwise, there's definitely some weird stuff going on, like Cold Claws mentioned. If you spectate other aircraft in F2 mode, sometimes you'll see them just teleporting all over the place, even when they have great ping and they're getting good FPS. It just kind of happens right now. But from a development perspective, it's just setting up the new data link stuff. That should be the only pain, if there is one. We're not sure how much of a pain that's actually going to be. I haven't even looked at it yet, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I like the new improvements. What do you think of them, Benham? I've seen you. You've been hunting us quite a bit.
Yes, he
When
has.
we play in there, we got to watch out for you.
I haven't touched any of the data link stuff yet. I've mainly been testing out the F-18 and 16 radars, mainly with 2.9. That's pretty much the thing I've been playing with. The 18 radar feels it feels the same, but a little bit different when a target, you have target STT'd and it kind of moves into a beam and it'll start to lose it and then it'll try to catch it again in STT and regain lock. I've been seeing that, and then the F-16 has been taking a lot of ground clutter. That's
A lot
the only
of
thing.
ground clutter on the radar.
Yeah. That's the only
Really?
stuff I've really been looking at. I haven't really touched anything else.
I kind of wanted tonight. I was thinking about coming in there and testing out the Hind, testing out the new Petrovich.
Oh,
Do you guys fly the Hind at all, or do you guys fly Helos at all?
Oh yeah, we love the Hind. The Hind's probably my second favorite module in DCS. I think it's actually the Hind might be the only thing other than the K-50 that I've flown this campaign so far on Red. Maybe one Frogfoot flight, but yeah, we were doing Hind stuff for a couple hours the other night.
Yeah, the Hind is also my favorite airframe.
Petrovich has issues
So
looking
he's
at a
slower
certain
now.
tank.
Okay, so yeah, there's one tank that got messed up, the Leopard 2A4. Petro will not target him at all, so I removed it from the campaign. But Petro is slower when you try to target a group of vehicles. Now he'll take a few extra seconds. They said in the patch notes that it was to simulate like trying to decipher targets that are next to each other in an area, but it is very noticeable.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
Because
I
I have yet to
realized
test it myself.
Totally forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, there is a little difference in the Hind.
So with the Strike Package Studio group, man, how many of you guys are there?
So on the DCS side, we have, let me count, I want to say 7 or 8.
So when you say side, is there another game?
Yeah, so kind of. Not too much anymore. So like I mentioned, like I've done stuff for Arma, DayZ, 5M, all that in the past. So there's actually another Discord that I run for the 5M side of things, and there's a whole staff team of over 20 people in there that also are in the Strike Package Studios Discord. They're under a hidden tag, and they're just in there for Discord moderation, just helping us out. If somebody comes in and starts posting like ads or spamming or whatever, they'll clean that.
We were just playing Arma before the podcast tonight. What aspects of Arma do you guys play? Like modern, the new World War II?
So let me just embarrass myself really quick. If I click on Arma 3 on Steam and I look under playtime, it says 6,754 hours. So I stopped playing Arma a few years ago. I've gotten my fair share.
You're up there with Helo.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Wasteland? Have you ever been in the Wasteland?
Yeah. At least 1,000 of those is probably in Wasteland. I played everything in Arma.
That's how you can tell what kind of Arma player you're talking to right there.
Oh yeah, I'm like level like 60, 70 in King of the Hill with like $800,000 to spend if you ever want to go on King of the Hill and mess around. It was mainly Altus Life. That was what we hosted, was life servers. Because in my opinion, life servers always had the best PvP in Arma. It was always the most balanced, and it's just such a great time.
Do you guys play the SOG Prairie Fire at all?
Yeah, I haven't played it in probably like a year at this point, but it's a lot of fun. We started playing Reforger within the last year a little bit more.
Okay. I don't have that one yet. I'm letting them work the bugs out of that.
Yeah, it's not the greatest game right now. It is more of a testing platform for their new engine, but it is still fun. I would definitely recommend it. It's a good change of pace from Arma because it feels almost like you're mixing Arma 3 and Squad in some ways. And some of the new mechanics are just nice and polished, but like you said, very buggy. It definitely needs more time. But they just added helicopters to the experimental build, so we are getting there.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, we like the Prairie Fire. I've got the new WW2 one. That one's got some kinks they got to work out of it still, I think. I think that's where I learned how to fly Helos mainly, was that I started in DCS, went to Arma, come back to DCS with a better computer.
Nice.
But we are going to start pushing you guys a server. I am a lot harder than because I haven't even been in Enigma since the update, and now that I've heard Cold Claw's report on it, I'm going to take his word for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that was me.
I was just going to say, we got another pretty good question from the Peanut Gallery. Do you have any secrets or how-tos about your servers just for the listeners today?
People that were smart enough to listen in.
Yeah.
About Contention?
About Contention. Yeah. Any kind of secret?
Yeah.
Not even secret, but you know what I mean. Maybe not known things that we should know.
Well, Let me think about that one.
Contention
Can you
think of
best
anything, Venom?
practices.
Yeah. Any-
Best practices. Ring harness.
I got it. If you have combined arms and you call in a airdrop with heavy armor or a heavy airdrop, you can take control of the vehicles of most vehicles with combined arms, and you can drive them to a point.
Well, there
That
you
is
go.
true.
That's a good one.
That is a really good one. Yeah, so you can use the airdrop. We ask that people don't remove any vehicles from actual points. You can control them and defend points if you want, so feel free to hop in anything. But yeah, if you airdrop something, it's all yours. Or if you drop it from a helicopter or CTLD, feel free to drop in JTAC and move it wherever you want. You can go take out an entire base with it if you want.
Oh,
So that's a good
big
start
one,
right there.
big one. FAC.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. Describe that. I was looking at that.
Yes,
system,
you can take
and
it away,
is
Trevor.
slightly confusing. So please describe that.
Okay, so forward artillery command. So basically, it is a system that we initially learned about on the Conquest DCS server. It's been down for about a year now. But
Excuse me.
it allows older and less capable aircraft like Hueys, Mi-8s, C-101s, L-39s. Even today we added the Mirage F-1BE. And it lets them call in artillery on targets, smoke targets, laze targets, and am I forgetting one, Venom? I think that's
Smoke targets, lace
it.
targets.
Smoke, laze,
There's one other
and
thing.
fire on targets. I'll think about it. But
Yeah.
so basically, if you get in the area, you need to be above, I think it's 50 feet, below 12,000 feet in one of those aircraft. You need to have visual line of sight with your targets. And then you'll get a message every 30 seconds. The menu will refresh. It'll tell you how many targets you have line of sight on inside of those parameters. And then, so say you get 5 targets, you can open the F10 menu. You select a target. Say there's a Strela down there. You click the Strela, and then you can fire for effect on the Strela through the F10 menu. Or laze it or smoke it. If you have a friend in the area, you don't have to try to kill it yourself. The artillery, if you fire on it, will take a few seconds. It'll fire a few shots, and there's a good chance if it's not a heavily armored vehicle, it will die. And then you will have a cooldown for 1 minute before you can use the fire option again. The same thing goes for smoking. I believe there's a 1 minute cooldown, and lasing is instant. There's no cooldown. For lasing, you choose between a fixed list of codes, 1688, and a few others. So if you have someone in the area with an LGB, you basically can turn into a lasing aircraft. If you're in a Huey and you select the laze option, it'll fire a laser beam basically straight from your aircraft to the target. So you have to maintain line of sight the whole way, but as long as you do, if someone drops a bomb in that area, it should hit, especially if they use like the LST on a Harrier or an A-10 or basically any NATO aircraft to find the laser first and then follow it in for their drop point. It should work pretty well. And smoking targets is a great option. It helps people find them, especially if you're taking fire and you can't keep line of sight to maintain to get a shot or a laze. You can just pop up quick, pop a smoke on the target, back away, and let your friends take care of it.
Awesome. And this is all access through the F10 menu, yes?
Yes.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah, so stuff like Warbirds, the Mosquito's a lot of fun to do it in. And the main aircraft are the Huey, Mi-8, C-101, and L-39 for FAC. Those are the ones that are prioritized for FAC.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Is there anything that we haven't asked you that you wish we did, or is there any announcements or anything related to your server you want to make sure you get out over the air here before we let you go?
Not too much that I can think of. Maybe just a quick elevator pitch about Contention.
Sure.
I would say if anyone's listening, they don't really understand what it is yet. It's really just a large-scale kind of sandbox, total domination style server. So you have to capture all airfields and FARPs to win. The ground units at each point don't always spawn in the same location. They're not like placed in the mission editor. Everything is spawned in through scripting. Every ground unit on the server is spawned in through scripting besides some of the pre-made Sinai SAMs. So that means anytime the server restarts or new reinforcements pop in or anything like that, there's going to be new units. They're going to be a different type of unit in a different location. So it's always going to keep things fresh. Every campaign will be slightly different. You'll never be fighting the same thing in the exact same spot.
Shimmy just showed up. What's up, Shimmy? I see you down
Hey,
there.
Jimmy. And
I shimmy shim.
other than that, there's just a few other elements like the factories that are cool, the team resource system. Teams start with a certain number of factories. They're not marked on the map. You can go find them, destroy the buildings, and then reduce the other team's resource income. Resources are important for reinforcing airfields and FARPs. And other than that, I would just say that we have a big emphasis on PvP. We love PvP and we want to see some good fights. So if anybody's looking for some good action, come join us on Contention. Join the Discord. Leave us all your feedback. And yeah, thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to talk about it.
Oh, no
Oh, yeah,
problem.
man.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
joining
showing
us,
up, bro.
man. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Oh, there's Shimmy.
Do you want to tell them about one of the things that you have planned, Trevor? When a certain plane gets released?
So, Sally, I can answer that really quick. Sally asked if there's a place for training. I would say no. It's not a very casual or training-oriented server. It's a more higher skill, higher difficulty air-to-ground environment. But I would say that on Sinai, there's 2 areas that would actually be perfect for training. If you can maintain your altitude, you should be able to avoid all the SAMs. And that is the southwest of the Suez, below the major airfields. There's no high altitude SAM coverage down there, so it's a good place to go try out like the F-15E and just do laser guided strikes. And then there's also the northeast on the Sinai Peninsula is a pretty light area that doesn't have many high altitude SAMs as well. And yes, so what Venom was talking about, one of our plans for an upcoming server version is called Cold War Plus.
Ooh.
So, yeah, it's kind of...
What was it?
It's Cold War Plus. It's very much like the Cold War experiences we've had on other servers, kind of like what Cold Claws was talking about, but not so much. So the focus is on the F4 versus the F1. The Mirage F1 has never really had a perfect environment where it's been able to, since its release, make full use of its weapons armaments and capabilities. It's too difficult to fly in a modern environment and too good to fly in a totally Cold War environment. So we want to put it up against the F4 when the F4 comes out and basically give them both all of their toys. The F4 is going to be new. Everyone's going to want to use all the fun stuff it has, so we're not going to restrict the F4 in any way, and we're also going to do the same with the F1. It's going to be, other than that, a relatively similar
What map?
to other Cold
What
Wars.
map will this be on?
We're going to start on Sinai.
Okay.
We're going to do the F4 out of Israel and the F1 out of Egypt.
That's exciting.
And-
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
what really
yeah,
makes
yeah.
it special is we will have the credit system, and it will be used for aircraft slots, so like the F-14 and the MiG-29, but we have something special, which is we want to implement stuff like the A-10C and the Su-25T, as well as the Apache and Ka-50 to this environment using credits, and potentially some weapon restrictions, if necessary. So it would really change the Cold War environment. We wouldn't be adding any F-16s or 18s or anything like that. No flankers, probably. But, I don't know. We think it'd be a lot of fun. What do you guys think?
I mean, I like the sound of it thus far. I think it's a great idea that you're on track there.
I can wholeheartedly say that Mach 2 Darkwood will enjoy that.
Right? Yeah, it does.
Mach 2 Darkwood will love that.
It sounds pretty cool, actually. Yeah. Even coming
I'm
from
sorry.
a guy that can't, fly fixed wings for crap. So, well, I can fly them. I just can't use the weapon systems for crap. So,
Well, if you ever want some help, feel free to ask out or to reach out.
heck yeah,
Problem.
will do.
Yeah, I really do appreciate you guys coming on. I'll just recap real quick. And my experience in your server thus far has been just great. I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed the access that we have to you guys within the Discord for any of you listeners that go to the server. Any questions or problems or anything, they've been quick to respond, and I really appreciate that. It makes it feel like a welcoming place to come.
Thank
Really
you.
does.
I really appreciate that.
It's a great
Right.
ping, man.
Yeah,
And if there is one more thing I could add, it's
absolutely.
kind of along those lines. And we're really trying to make an experience for the long term that players are going to enjoy and that we enjoy, that the community that forms around the server enjoys. There's a lot of things that we're willing to try, and we plan on keeping this up for years. I mean, the server's not going to go down, even if the pop stays low, unless something crazy happens, probably within the next couple years. So we just want to keep going, keep making it better. This is really just the beginning. It's super early. There's so much that can change and be added.
Man, it's good to hear, man. It's so good to hear that.
Yeah.
It really
So
is.
just let us know what you guys think. Let's make something awesome together.
You guys' server, man, is like Tempest, but not stupid.
I don't really want to comment on that, but
I'm being honest, man. I love, dude, when Tempest first came out, we were all the people I flew with in the last group I was in, we were all on it, and we were having Apache versus Hind battles and loving it. And then they changed it and made it stupid.
yeah, they kept changing things. That's for
And
sure.
you guys' server is that, but not stupid, and I love it. If you guys could put out a Caucasus version where we can fight along the coast and the mountains, I would love it even more.
Oh man, should I tell them?
You can tell them. Tell them
Yeah,
about
so
that one.
Caucasus is actually pretty far along. It's not too far from being done.
Man, dude, because these Russian helicopters can't run in the snow.
We have a cool plan for Caucasus too, if you want to hear it. It's going to be a
by all
slightly
means.
different era. So we have the 80s era on Sinai, and then we talk about Cold War Plus, and then we have the full modern on Syria. What we want to try on Caucasus is something slightly different, and it's 90s. So it's going to be AIM-120B, AIM-9M, and very, very limited, if any, GPS-guided weapons. So it's going to be kind of an air-to-ground experience, more like Sinai, with a mixed air-to-air experience. So AIM-120B, AIM-9M, no AIM-9X. The red side will have the 27ER and ET to counter the 120B. R77 will be in there, and I'm probably forgetting something. Phoenixes will be in there.
Yeah, I think what we were talking about with this one was it's kind of going to be more focused on the F-14 for the F-14, the Shine, in the era where it's Fox 3 is probably going to be the most potent.
So are you going to do it like where we got to use credit points to use those aircraft, like badass aircraft?
Most likely not, no. There probably won't be any credit aircraft on that. It'll be like the current versions, just with weapon restrictions built in.
Nice. As long as there's a lot of helicopter slots, man, that's all I beg for.
Right,
100%.
right. Same here.
I mean like mainly more toward helicopter.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
Apache versus Hind battles are top. I don't know if you guys know this, man, because we all just met, but I put up my own little mission where I've got a little battle area made, and we sit there 20 versus 20 if we want, and battle helos. It's all helos, no planes, and it's a real good time.
Awesome.
And that's kind of what we kind of want to do on the Caucasus. If you're going to do something like that, I would ask for that. We would ask for that.
Okay.
My question for you then is, if, in that situation, do you like fighting in the north side of the map, or in the mountains, or the coastline most?
No, what is that? What's that town, Diggs? Kosovo? It's where there's two bases separating each other.
Yeah, I forget the name of it now, unless I was actually looking at it.
Kutaisi and
I think that's
Sanaki?
it. Yes,
Yeah, maybe them two.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably.
The north side, the
flat
north
area.
star.
Yeah, they're fairly close to each other, and then so that way we don't have far to fly, and we just kind of mark out a battle arena, if you will. Like once you cross these towers, it's weapons on. And
Nice.
I mean, what Darkwood's basically talking about is just like a quick arena style Helo versus Helo fight. Just kind of helps you learn some crazy maneuvering and things like that. Quick.
Yeah, we'll take new members in there that we used to go into ECW, fight Hinds. We used to go in there and just hunt Hinds down and kill them repeatedly till they got so pissed they get in jets. Literally. And we would do our own little server, our own little battles, and let these guys shoot at Hinds and let them, practice hitting them in the vital points. So I mean, it's a really good instructional tool. Plus, we do races, we do jousting, bowling for Iranians. We do all kinds of fun stuff.
And Trapper here, I actually have a question from Bleg on off of YouTube here. I do believe that on the Syria map that it is unrestricted weapons. Is that correct? So the Hind will have the R60M and the R3R?
Correct. The only weapon restriction on the entire Syria map is the nuke on the MiG-21. Everything else is allowed.
Okay, copy that. And then on Sinai, for the Hind, does it have those or
Yep.
or no?
The Hind is unrestricted on. The Hind will honestly probably remain unrestricted on all of our servers. We just love the Hind too much. I don't see us restricting.
Right. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Even the attackers are probably even fine in an older environment. I think.
Yes, comrade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Not
so
a big
too.
deal.
Streaker's just he's pissed off at them people, and he has every right to be. The only thing that balanced out that entire equation was that Mistral missile on the Gazelle. Even though it's all cartoon and made up shit, you still want it. Still should work better, and they should still have a chance.
Yeah. Just
because we would fly 5 Hueys. Dude, we were flying 5 Hueys deep with 2 Gazelles with Mistrals, and we were waxing that ass, man, and they were getting pissed about it.
So of course,
if any jets came near us, they got waxed.
Yeah.
So I mean.
Yep. So I mean, yeah, that's perfect. That's great. I'm really liking what I see on the server, on your server, Trapper. It's fun. It's very fun.
I'll be in there here in a little bit.
Yeah, and my only real concern with it from a helicopter standpoint is just being hunted down by you fixed wing pilots. Which
we're not going to ask Jimmy about
which
that.
Which is fine. It's fun though. It's still a blast. I mean that's what actually makes it even more interesting, is to try and hide from the fixed wing pilots, which is going to make it a lot harder now that we've got better rotor wash graphics going on, so they'll be able to spot us a little.
I don't know if you guys even knew who Cold Claws was.
We heard about him just from the time he got called out pretty hard in that community.
Yeah.
Don't really want to talk too much further. You probably know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just funny, dude. If you ask a cartoon Huey pilot in that server who that dude is, they'll go into a 10-15 minute rant on that guy.
I have no idea who that was or who that is actually. So
yeah, go fly Huey in there. He'll find you. You'll meet him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the people's villain.
The people's villain, dude.
All right, fellas. Well, I think we've had a great conversation here. I think we got some really good information from you guys. Is there anything we're missing as far as contention goes?
I think we've covered most of it at this point. Shimmy reminded me of one other thing we've talked about that might interest you, which was more of an event style, really quick mission. It would be on Cyprus only, and it would be a helicopter and light ground attack. Well, not light, but helicopter and ground attack only mission on Cyprus, basically. Like a quick couple hours, helicopter versus helicopter, maybe A-10s and Harriers and Frogs or something at the most.
Cool. So yet another thing to look forward to from you guys.
Yep.
That sounds great.
But yeah, otherwise I think we've covered it. Thank you guys so much for bringing us in and letting us talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Kind of wrap this up here, and I mean, again, thanks for coming on this is our first podcast, guys.
Nice.
And like you guys, we're going to try to keep this going for you listeners out there that might be hearing us. We're looking to do kind of a bi-weekly thing. And we'll talk about that more and more as we continue to do this. But right now, again, thank you, Trapper, Venom. Thanks for having us, and keep doing the good work.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you. See you later.
Have a great one. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah, man.
Yep, very much appreciated having you guys on.
Yeah, it's awesome.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Streaker and Darkwood there, I think that went pretty well. Those guys had some really great information for us.
Bro, I'm really excited about this Caucasus, man. They got me jacked up now. Now I'm ready to go fucking flip this Sinai map in the ass. No pun intended.
So before we wrap up the entire podcast here for this episode, I just wanted to touch on 2.9 real quick, and just, so far, what do you two think of it? What has your experience been?
I've actually had a great experience with it. Me personally, I've using DLSS, which I normally don't use on any game. I actually use it on here. Gave me probably about a 15-20% performance gain, and no loss in visual fidelity. And we all know that I'm kind of a visual fidelity hog. So I'm liking that. I'm liking the new effects with the rotor wash. Yeah, I did notice, of course, just like everybody else, I did notice the warping a lot. I wasn't sure if that was just server side or not, or if it was the 2.9 update causing it.
Yeah, I think that's still not quite clear. It might be something in between the two of them. I'm not sure.
I think so, and it's the growing pains of the first launch. They'll probably have some bug fixes, I'm guessing, to alleviate those kind of issues here probably come Monday. I wouldn't doubt if we have a small patch on Monday to kind of address those kind of issues. So.
And how about you, Darkwood? Thumbs up or thumbs down on the 2.9 thus far?
So far, man, I put the graphics on cinematic, and everything was brown and red, like rusty colored, like looked like maybe like World War II. Like if you were flying World War II planes, and you know what I mean. It looked real good. Then I put it on the Technicolor on all three levels, and it was really vivid. My gameplay is a lot less stuttery. I'm running the straight DLSS, DLSS hood mode, and it runs really good, man.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. I know
I'm gonna go test it here.
Have run into problems, but for me, it's worked out great. I don't think my VR has ever looked as good or played DCS has played as smooth for me. So for me, it's been a big plus. All right, everybody. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, all our listeners. Great conversation with Trapper and Venom there. And I want to have everybody please join us for our next podcast. Is slated for November 4th at 7 p.m. I'm going to try to do an every other Saturday kind of thing here at 7 p.m. Eastern, that is. And with that, I wish you guys a good night, and we'll see you in the skies.
Thank you all very much for joining us.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Outro.
sunshine when you went off.